Week 4 was messy, loud, and telling. Bears sneak one in Vegas. Not impressed. Raiders O-line is cooked and it just got worse anyway. Steelers fly to Dublin. Rodgers goes quick game clinic with Metcalf. Not pretty, but hey, they're in control in the AFC North now. Giants, Dart walks in cold and looks like a pro. Interior runs gas for Los Angeles Chargers, but losing neighbors hurts the Giants. Titans is coaching, not Cam Ward. Texans still capped by Stroud's. Don't throw deep. Shackles, but the defense is doing the heavy lifting. Falcons handled the Mariota revenge trip. Washington down QB1 and wide receiver 1, no surprise there. Bills win, but that run D keeps leaking. Saints hung around way too long. Lions bully Cleveland. Time to see a rookie QB in Browns country. Carolina goes from a 30-0 high to a 43-13 base plan. Don't chase it past box scores. And yes, chest up. We call the Jags over Niners. Defense, turnovers, ball game. Rams outlast the Colts. Puka looked unstoppable. Chiefs dismantle the Ravens while Lamar lives. Recalibrate Baltimore right now. Packers, Cowboys, tie? Please, come on. Green Bay lost it. Dallas took it. Monday night Broncos mauled the Bengals. Not a Browning obituary. Softer matchups ahead. And the bombshell, Tyreek's gone. Tyreek's done for the year. And Jets edge it, but both teams have identity problems. Fields keeps Garrett Wilson alive at least. If week 4 taught us anything, it's that volatility is the assignment. We read it right, we adjust fast, and we don't chase noise. Quick transparency check. We missed cash game this week. Right players, wrong combos. Tournaments were live with no takedowns. And look, hey, that's DFS. Hard game, thin edges. We stick to the process. Strap in. We're sorting the mirages from the momentum. This is Tiger Box Sports Audio Entertainment, where we learn, scout, win, and repeat. Time for us to slide right on over to our Would You Rather section for week 5 of this NFL regular season week matchup. And first up, let's just get right to it. We'll do the flex this week is what we'll do. So anybody can be in the flex from a wide receiver to a running back, and we'll say it's not super flex, so I won't have any quarterbacks in these conundrums. But let's get popping. Quentin Johnson, or the Cam Scatterbo this week. Scatterbo going to be so popular in DFS, I can't play it. I'll throw it before I play it, but I would take him over Quentin Johnson this week. I think Johnson might be third man on the total hold in the passing game for the Chargers this week. Scatterbo should continue to see his rise. Next one, J.K. Dobbins or Tataria McMillan. I'm going to take Dobbins this week. The Broncos are facing the Eagles. It's going to be an uphill battle. It's going to be all hands on deck. And there's certainly going to be an opportunity for Dobbins to be contributing. And so I do like him. He could get double-digit points. I would say the same for McMillan this week, though. Next up, Jameson Williams or Chase Brown this week. Now, Jameson Williams has a better matchup, but for this week, I would take Chase Brown just because he is the lead running back. He's going to get a core of those touches, right? And so from a standpoint of who's going to have the ball more, it's definitely Brown over Williams. So this is a interesting one from the perspective that we're going to take the guy who has the worst matchup because he'll see more touches. That's the way we play the game, right? We got touches equal opportunity. You want the guy who's seeing a lot of targets at wide receiver. Sometimes you look at the box score, it's like, 130 yards, but it's like, if that's on 3 touches or 3 targets rather for a wide receiver, what does that really mean to us, right? We can't repeat that every week and expect that outcome. Probably more like 3 for 16 if you only get 3 catches, or 3 targets every week, basically. All right, Cortland Sutton or Kenneth Walker. I'm going to take Kenneth Walker this week. He's in a good spot on what should be a competitive game. I like that. But Sutton, he's also in a decent spot. Again, Broncos, uphill matchup. But I think Sutton's going to score a touchdown. So for Walker to be better than Sutton this week in the flex, Walker's going to need to score 2. Chris Godwin Jr. or David Montgomery. Give me David Montgomery this week. I like the tandem of the Lions. I'm going to play them in DFS together. Love the idea of that. Jacoby Myers or Woody Marks this week. I will basically, I'll take Myers here because he's the wide receiver one. He should get more touches. In a game, I expect him to be trailer. Woody Marks is taking over the backfield, but it's not his yet. Chubb is still hanging around. He's getting some touches. So that's going to detract away from Woody. So I'll take Jacoby Myers. Next up, we got another Woody Marks question. Woody Marks or Micah Pittman. Same reasoning as we just gave. I'm going to take Pittman over Marks. All right. And then next up, Wan'Dale Robinson or Chase Brown. And this one, I will take Wan'Dale Robinson. He's going to have opportunity as well. It's next man up, and so there's no more Malik Neighbors like we just said. And so Wan'Dale is going to get the opportunities alongside Darius Slayton, and I like him over Slayton by a mile. So I'm invested in Wan'Dale Robinson this week. The Saints and the Giants, I mean, it should be a competitive game. You can think of those teams scare anybody. So I expect some room for small. All right, Chris Olave or Woody Marks this week. Give me Olave. Same reasoning behind those other wide receivers, but you guys are noticing the theme. I think Olave is also in a nice spot with that Giants game. Jacoby Myers or Jordan Mason this week. Now, we'll swing back for Mason. The Vikings got the London game this week against the Browns, but I think there's an opportunity for Mason there, especially because of the Browns pass rush. I don't know that the Vikings want to expose wins to that more often than necessary. And so you'd expect Jordan Mason to take the load more or less. And then Keenan Allen or Woody Marks. Give me Keenan Allen this week. For my money, he's going to be the lead guy. He's been the lead guy. We've seen Quentin Johnson get some production here and there, but I'm not buying it. I'm going to stick with Herbert going to his guy, Keenan Allen. And I'll take that over Woody Marks sharing with Chubb. And then finally, the last would you rather conundrum this week is going to be Ramondre Stevenson or Wan'Dale Robinson. And I will take Robinson. Stevenson is basically in a timeshare back there with Trevion Henderson, so he doesn't even get all the touches free and clear. And we just talked about how much opportunity there is for Mr. Robinson. All right, that's our would you rather for week 5. You guys now know who I would rather in certain conundrums. Hopefully that will help you make your decision before lock on Sunday. Before we go any further in this episode, I want to take a moment and talk about Fraction. Listen, if you're a SaaS founder, you know the thing, scaling fast without blowing millions on full-time hires. Simple as that. That's where Fraction comes in, though. They give you senior US-based engineers and CTOs for 10 to 30 hours a week. These are vetted pros who deliver 2 to 4 times more with today's AI tools. Founders use Fraction to speed up shipping, its legacy methods, and even prep for M&A, all without $200,000 plus salaries. You can start with a 1-week risk-free trial and see the impact right away. So if you're stuck between junior offshore talent and breaking the bank, go to fraction.work. That's fraction.work and find your next senior engineer or CTO. Fraction, senior talent, fractional cost. Let's keep sliding along our episode here. My favorite segment, I hope it's yours too, but I really like the reload. So let's get into it and break down these game scripts, see what we got on tap for week 5. Starting first with Thursday night's results. Thursday night, Niners at Rams. Niners handle business. McCaffrey keeps the engine running. Defense too much for Stafford. The Rams fight, but not enough. And really, this game came down to McVay, making a choice to try to win the game as opposed to tie. I got no problem with that. I got no problem with that at home trying to get that done. It didn't work out their way, but I still think they're a better team than the 49ers. But credit to the 49ers, they played tough on the road and got the win. Reload, London game, early game on Sunday, Vikings at Browns. The Vikings stayed overseas. Rookie Dylan Gabriel making his first start overseas for the Browns. That's kind of an ugly spot. Vikings defense holds in this one. Mason runs well. Isaiah Bonds maybe sneaks in for Cleveland. He's the next guy up now that we've got receiver injuries from Seven Hillman over there. Minnesota takes this one in London. Reload. Texans at Ravens. No Lamar. Houston wins. Woody Marks is trending up. Stroud still capped, but the defense is solid or rounding into something solid when they have Stingley out there. With Lamar, if Lamar were to play, then I'd say the Ravens grinded out behind the run game and defense, but just now getting updates before recording here on Friday, and he's going to be out. Without him, Houston D is live for DFS. Reload. Giants at the Saints. Bad versus bad. Competitive but sloppy. Dart on the road without neighbors. Expect turnovers is what I would say. Welcome to the big world, big man. And then the Saints lean Olave. Kamara still fading for me. Saints defend home turf in this one. Reload. Broncos at the Eagles. Look, I'm done faking Philly here. Broncos defense is solid, but offense isn't. Hurts, AJB, Smith, Barkley, all these guys are live. One of them pops. Knicks is a tournament dart with Sutton and Mims. If you want to go that far, I'll probably go Franklin over Mims, but I'll take Eagles at home. Reload. Next up, Cowboys at the Jets. I love this one, y'all. Shootout vibes. Fields and Wilson. Dak and Pickens on the other side. Those are the stacks that are live in DFS this weekend for that. Breece Hall gets more run with Braden Allen banged up. Javonte and Blue, I think, get into a bit more of a split. So I'll fade Javonte, unless it's seasonal, of course. Neither D matters. Feels like a cash game Fields week for me. Cowboys squeak it out on this one. Reload. Raiders at the Colts. Raiders offensive line is falling apart, y'all. Johnson is capped by this. Geno is under siege. The Colts defensive line can dominate in this game. Jonathan Taylor cooks. Pittman is viable. Maybe Myers brings it back in DFS like we're just talking about on Would You Rather. But Colts roll at home. Reload. Dolphins at the Panthers. Panthers unplayable in this one. Miami scrapes a win, quite simply. Tua, Achane, Waddle are fine. Malik Washington, the rise of Malik Washington, the next man up for the Miami Dolphins without Tyreek Hill. Finn's D in play here too. Reload. Titans at the Cardinals. Tennessee is broken, I tells you. Ayamenor, maybe in the flex. Pollard seasonal, but that's about it. Card shining this one. Harrison Jr., you got to take a step forward. I think you can. McBride, DeMarcado, if Vincent sits. And yes, we now have word that Vincent's going to sit. So DeMarcado, Arizona coast. Reload. Buccaneers at the Seahawks. Vegas has this one right. Tight, fun game. I wanted to say Bucky Irvin for this game is key. However, we're going to have to put a pin in that because we're getting into he's out, and so we're going to give Rachaad White this week. So he's there. Ibuka is solid. Darnold looks serviceable this week. Horton and Smith and Jigba are DFS darts for me from the Seattle side of things. Cade Otton, sneaky touchdown play. I think that's a one-time touchdown play. Cade Otton for me standing in the end zone. Seahawks squeak by at home in this one. Reload. Commanders at Chargers. Jaden Daniels is back, but no McLaurin. Debo sees some more touches because of that. This backfield is still a mess, though. Chargers are going to bounce back this week after that embarrassing loss. Give me Herbert to Keenan Allen. But Oronde Gadsden is on the rise. It's a rising tight end. He's getting more looks. He got more burn last week. I'm going to fake Quentin Johnston again. And if I get burned by that, oh well. But I'm not expecting that. Chargers win. Reload. Lions at the Bengals. Battle of the Big Cats. Love Jamar Chase this week. I'll serve that up. Browning can get him fed. You can play that in cash if you want it. Lions are strong everywhere. Goss, St. Brown, Swift, Monty. Load them up. Bengals hang, but the Lions are too balanced. Detroit on the road. A couple of scores maybe. Reload. Patriots at the Bills. Bills won sloppy last week. They got to clean it up here this week. Josh Allen, James Cook. Shakir seems pretty safe also. Pat's side, I'll take Diggs in tournaments for a dart if you want to do that. DFS, he's playable in seasonal. Everything else is a fade. Bills roll at home. Reload. Chiefs at the Jaguars. Final shot. Let's make this good. The Jags play tough. They keep it ugly, but Kansas City is going to get it done in this one on Monday. Etienne is in play right here. The Jags defense is going to keep it close. Mahomes, is going to spread it out a little bit. Rashard Smith is creeping into usage in that backfield, and I think that continues to rear its head this week on Monday. Chiefs by a score, possibly by 10, but the Jaguars defense proved they are for real. Guys, that's your reload segment for this week. Chris, we're ready. that's what I'm thinking, and hopefully that helps you decide how you think these games are going to go and who you should start. Booyah! Let's look right along. Before we go any further, we got to shout out those Downey Razorbacks. Last week went to the desert, took on the Palm Springs Indians, came away with that W, whopped those kids upside the head. I got to say it was chippy. I don't know if it was the desert heat or what it is. These kids got chippy. I don't know if it was the missed calls by the ref, but there's a lot of aggression being taken out there. But at the end of the day, the good guys win, continue the undefeated streak, continue the no scores against streak, and we'll just keep rolling this weekend as the Downey Razorbacks head into downtown Los Angeles territory for their game on Saturday. Good luck with that one, boys. Okay, DFS time. Gonna make this as sweet as I can. Get this up on the screen here for you and show you what my hand is this week. As of course, if you see the C on the side of their name, that is a cash game play this week. Now, I am looking at Hurts just because whether it's a good matchup or a bad matchup, we said last week, playable every week. And so it's a tournament play for me. A little bit of a tougher matchup against the Broncos, but he's got so many ways that he can pay off. He's got the tush push. He can pass it in. I mean, there's a lot of aspects to his play that make it easy to see why he's like one of the, if not the most desirable player in fantasy football. But he's in play for sure. And I'm bringing that back with AJB. AJ Brown, there's no fire there. Just don't worry about it. I'm not expecting that this is a big thing between him and the team, right? Like all wide receivers want the ball, period. But the funny thing about that is people are down on him now. But usually when wide receivers be a bone about getting the ball more, well, they get the ball more, right? And so I am going to chase that at tournaments this week. But for the quarterbacks, I'm taking Hurts and Herbert for sure. Like I said, the Chargers bounce back, but great opportunity for Herbert to assert himself this week for sure. And I'm looking at that production along with Keenan Allen, like I said. So I'll have exposure to both of those guys, but definitely tournament plays. Fields, cash game, I think is pretty viable last week. True to form to what we said, this dude, even if it's garbage time, and it wasn't necessarily garbage time last week when he did it, but he's got these plays that just and know where he can generate a ball play, a 70-something yard play, right, and pay off. And so while we don't always have to expect them to win, like we expect Dallas to win this week, we got to get production. So love Fields, $5,600. Love that price that lets us pay up in other places. For Sam Darnold at $5,100, very viable. Love that. And I just can't stress enough how much I'm invested in that Tampa Bay Seattle game this week. To me, that is the game of the week as far as everything that I'm looking at. Just because on paper, you could almost say kind of mirrors of each other, even have a mirrored record, but we're going to find out who's the pretender. And we're going to find out who's the winner of these two on Sunday. Love that. Excited for it. And then for tournaments, I'll pay down with Browning at 4,900. Huge salary saver. I think he bounces back also. I think this is a great opportunity to give low ownership on somebody that nobody's going to want to play. And pairing him with Chase just makes so much sense if you combine the two salaries. I mean, for me, it's like a dream to get those guys under 12K essentially and be able to, build up some stuff everywhere else. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to do that and you can't stop me. Wide receivers, St. Brown, $7,900 on play, Chase, $7,800 will have exposure to them. And this is a healthy group of wide receivers. As you guys see, I can depend on a lot of guys in cash games this week for sure. Tournaments, I want to play Pickens there. Collins and cash game, you see also $6,800. Love that price. He's producing. A lot of, ups and downs with Houston, but above all else, Collins is producing. That, just cannot be denied. And Pickens, I like him coming back at that Jets game. I expect points there. And so in the tournament, not my cash game in the tournament, I would play Fields. Then I would play Wilson, and I would bring it back to Pickens perhaps. And Ferguson, who we'll talk about in a second. Garrett Wilson, though, cash game, $6,100. Another guy who just keeps producing this week. And so we got these soft prices at wide receiver, but we could also pay up. We're going to pick out a running back to talk about. But to continue to go down, AJ Brown, 6K, such a soft salary. Makes sense to pair him with her to the tournament and build around that. It just really does from a salary perspective. Sutton, 6K also. right down there with Allen and Waddle. These are guys that I expect to see a lot of targets going their way. And then Wendell Robinson, who we talked about, $5,300 cash game play. The Saints ain't scaring nobody. They're not scaring anybody. Yes, Scatterbo is great, but the Giants can't run every play. You got to pass some of them. And when they do that, who are they going to get the ball to? Him or old man Slayton? You tell me. Olave on the other side, same thing. Even in blowout games, like they still find a way to get the ball to him and perpetually passing because you're always chasing. So look, those guys are cash game options that are cheap down there along with Pittman. I love it. This is a week where we see clearly the golden opportunities and we can pay up a little more. Ayo Menor down there as well. Again, a team that's going to be chasing against a secondary where, I mean, in garbage time, he can get production at $4,100. Oh, we got to take a look at that tournament. And then Franklin for Denver. Denver's in a tough spot against Philadelphia on the road. Also, it's kind of like you expect these guys to be trying to stay in the ballgame and chasing. Franklin's had a role. 4K is frankly, no pun intended, a little too cheap for him, but we'll take that. And then Malik Washington, next man up in Miami. I'm excited to see what this kid can do. Soft price. We're going to ride that until the league catches on, right? So he scored that touchdown or has that breakout game. Then everybody's going to be right there with us, of course, at that point. But for tight ends, you go to Ferguson for Dallas. He has been Mr. Consistent. Weird to say, I know, but of all the things you could expect from Dallas, that is what we've got to a consistent clip. And so if we read the room in this game script with the Jets, we should be playing him for sure. And then Juwan Johnson at $3,900. Love that play also against the Giants. Who's their defense scaring? Certainly not me. Darren Waller for Miami. It's a very soft matchup against Carolina, $3,500. You know, I don't know if he holds up all year. I don't know if his interest for this holds up all year. But right now, that's a pretty solid play this week. K. Noden, $3,300. Seattle, they do a lot of things well. But Ben, the tight end, is not one of them. This dude has a chance to get the anytime touchdown. You want to play on that parlay this week, you should, in my opinion, $3,300. I'll have that in tournament. I'll pay down for that for sure. Take that chance. Because it just pays off if he gets that touchdown. If it's a 1 yard touchdown, he just pays off, nearly doubles what you paid for him. If he catches a 10-yard touchdown, well, then you just, have a player that's on fire for practically nothing, right? So we'll take a chance there. The second, $3,200. Again, I expect Brown to be better. Part of that is facilitating the offense a little more. And this is that. This is what I mean right here. So I think you can get it to Giuseppe as well. And then the last guy there is Oronde Gaston the second, $2,700. They keep stating and then proving that they're going to get him more involved. I'm going to keep paying attention and believing. If pay that soft price, just expecting the big blowout game. You keep getting 9 targets and looks and things like that. It's going to happen, right? Play the probabilities, not the uncertainties. So we got to keep playing it. They're going to keep getting that much attention. Like we just have to, or else we're very bad at what we're doing if we don't recognize it. Running backs, paying up for Gibbs. Like I said, the caveat here is I'm pairing him and Monty together. I want that 1-2 punch this week, and at that price, I can do it. A-Chan is great too. Love it for cash, $7,300. Hampton, I'm married in Hampton. For all intents and purposes, this guy is going to get a share of the rock now. And so it happened a little earlier than we expected, but love that. Walker's in a prime spot this week. Love that. Dobbins is in a great spot this week. Love that. You want to put him in your cash game lineup? That's fine to me. Soft price, $5,500. There's your Monty. Rashad White stepping in for a Charger. We get the salary relief, $4,700. DeMercado stepping in for Trey Benson, who is stepping in for a starter. We get the salary relief, $4,700. We got a lot of backup running backs who will get the start because the first guy can't go this week. And so it's like if there was just one guy be a free square, we'd all take it. But now you actually got to make a choice, right? And so you got to decide of all these guys who you're going to trust the most. And I do think it's DeMercado. But we should not forget to mention this other guy who I will have exposure to, and that's Rico Dallo at $4,300. No Chuba Hubbard this week. Got to play Rico Dallo. So, this is what I mean when I say that you could pay up at wide receiver for like a Chase or a St. Brown comfortably because we can pay down for running backs that are going to get touches. Like these teams have no choices, right? So kind of an easy week for us from that perspective. I'm not saying easy as in we know if we're going to win. What I'm saying is roster construction, logically thinking about it, not just mashing in buttons, mashing in players because you heard a name on the talking heads on TV, right? Like following the process, this looks like it's our cup of tea this week. And then for defenses, finally, you got a couple of options. There are a couple of obvious options, but I want to call out four specifically. Arizona at 3,600, the Colts at 3,300 for cash, Texans at $2,400. I love that with no Lamar, and then the Saints at $2,200. Just dart on the road, second start. I mean, read the room, guys. Like these guys are professionals. They just played Buffalo hard for damn near 3/4 of the game, right? And so I think this is a much easier task at home. Read the room. These are the plays we got to make. And have people say we're genius when we just look at it and go, no, that's obvious, right? Those are obvious plays. But hey, that's our DFS for the week. Guys, pouring my heart out to you guys there. Hopefully those picks win. And we get back on the winning train. I'm ready to come and report, hey, we snatched the double up. I know the picks are right. We got to put it in the right order. And Lord willing, we're going to do that this week. All righty, finally, let's round it out with a little bit of housekeeping, just some encouragement and a little bit of nooks to keep this train on the tracks, keep this thing on the rails. Look, if you want to buy low right now on AJ Brown or Jamar Chase, you should do that right now. That's my advice to you guys this week. People are down on these guys. If you find an owner that's willing to cut bait for them, you should do it because the swing is going to come and it's going to go your way. I would hold tight if I have them. Do not get out of the game on those guys at this point yet. And like I said, this week, I'm just feeling so great about Chase. It's going to prove the point. The price for him is going to go back up this week. If you want to do this now before they play that game is what I would say. Take advantage of that if somebody's down. Same thing for AJB. All right, next point for housekeeping. We're seasonal, right? Let's switch gears. Look, the wins and the losses matter less right now than the points do. There's not that many weeks thus far, and so having a bad record is not necessarily the issue that should panic you. The bigger issue should be if you don't have a lot of points. Now let's say you have a lot of points and you have the most points against, and so you have a bad record. I would not worry about that. It will correct itself. If you have the most points against, it's going to slide back towards the middle more, and so you should see some easier weeks. If you have put up points, right, like you're at the top of there and you're just losing, that's just bad luck. And so once that evens out, you're still putting up points is what matters, right? So there's a lot of ways to think about this thing, but there's too many people panicking right now. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be panicked, but I'm saying there's a right reason to be panicked and there's wrong reasons to be panicked. If we are panicking for the right reasons, then we continue the process and talk about what can be done against that, right? And last week was a big clue about that season. Looking ahead, don't pick up waiver wire players for this week. It's too simple to block that, play with that methodically. Think ahead. If you're not doing it on Sunday when you're watching the game, think ahead. Look 2 weeks ahead and start to think about your waivers for that week this week. Final housekeeping tip we got for week 5. Guys, I want to avoid the DFS chalk. You got to stay away from it. We got to have a come to Jesus moment about this. Like playing all the obvious good players because you know they're going to score points does not get you a win at DFS. Let me say that again. Playing all the obvious good players that are going to get points this week does not get you a win in DFS. Playing guys that will get you points that are not obvious is the route to go. Football is too popular. Would not be the case if we're playing baseball. We can kind of play a little chalk and be fine. But we're talking about DraftKings, not one of the other apps. We're talking about football, not one of the other sports. There is so much noise there. And so if you want to jump with the lineup train and play the chalk, the players everybody's playing, it just cuts the payout. If you're playing a cash game where it's 50-50, right? And half of you should get paid out. But let's say 75 of you came up with the same lineup, then yeah, it's going to pay out 75, but you put out less money because more people have to be paid now, right? And so You need to think about winning, but different from everybody else. That is the key to winning DFS. So we cannot just lean into the chalk. Yes, there are players that look good, but I kind of want to be conscious about how many of these obvious plays that I'm putting together. That's why I more or less want to play somebody like Fields this week, as opposed to, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think more things that people may try to do is like Baker or even Sam Darnold. I'm looking at Sam Darnold as the play that people are going to gravitate to, right? Um, Maybe it is Fields. Maybe I'm wrong and there's a bunch of chalk and I have to eat that. But an even better example would be Jamar Chase. That won't be chalk this week, right? That would be a differentiator. So if you look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's 7,900, or Chase, who's 7,800, between the two of them, Chase to me is the better play. Like, yes, Amon can snap. He's been snapping. He's been the best wide receiver in the season so far. He's been producing every week. But people are looking at that and thinking about that. In a cash game, Chase makes more sense because his production, I'm telling you, is assured as well. It doesn't matter if it's Brown. Go back in the game where Burrow got hurt. We had this recency bias where we forget if it didn't happen yesterday, 3 days ago, or 1 week ago. We forget. Go look at the tape. He already got the ball to him, so we know it can happen. I don't want to hear how it's risky or whatever. It's not that. It was a matchup thing. I'm telling you guys this week, it's a matchup that is going in our favor. All right, that's what I got for you guys this week. Really appreciate you riding along with me. Let's go out and have some success this week. Good luck to you guys as you set your lineup. You know you can reach me on Twitter. You can reach me on Facebook. We got pages for that. You can check out this podcast on Spotify. You can check out this podcast on YouTube. You can listen to this thing at www.tigerbombs8e.com. However you do it, let's go out and get it. We'll come back here and huddle up next week and talk about what went right, what went wrong, we'll learn, scout, win, and repeat.